I don't know how many of you have tried wassail, but it's pretty good stuff. Especially on a cold night like this. And I hope all of y'all had a really good Christmas. I know I sure did. I got a brand new camera and I've been struggling to make a video with it all day. New technology, y'all know how that goes. So now we're out here in the cold with the old camera. But there was something I really wanted to talk about today. And that's something that, this is just a big topic amongst hunters, and it always has been, probably always will be. And it's something I got a lot of questions on, but that's versatile cartridges. And, you know, rightfully so, I'm getting a lot of questions on this. It's something we've all spent a lot of time thinking about. And me personally, I know many years ago when I went to the store to buy my first rifle, I was retiring a hand-me-down, and it was on its last legs, and went to go buy me a new one. Well, I wanted it chambered in a versatile cartridge. Especially if I was only going to have one rifle, it needed to be versatile. And then, you know, over the years and up till now, with my thoughts on minimalism and simplifying and so forth, well, it's still important to keep versatility in mind. Especially if you're going to limit the number of rifles you have or use. And at the end of the day, the whole topic of versatility, it's all about just us not knowing. Okay, you go into the field, you're carrying one rifle chambered and one cartridge, and you don't know what you're going to run into. You don't know where you're going to end up or what you're going to need. So you need a versatile cartridge. All right, and that's what drives our desire for versatility. And I've been thinking about this a lot, and I was just having a hard time just coming up with anything definitive on this, anything that actually help anybody, and or help myself for that matter. But then I finally realized our whole notion of a versatile cartridge is based on a myth, a false premise. And that's because we don't want a versatile cartridge. We never have. And I got a 22 here. In 1953, Bella Twin, a Cree Canadian Indian woman, and a lot of you Canadians already know this story, she used a 22 long, which is even less powerful than this long rifle, to kill a bear. And she wasn't going bear hunting with it. She was just out one day, and one happened to have wandered too close to her, and she decided she was better off to take the shot than to not take the shot and mess around and it catch her scent because it just gotten too close. So she shot it. And it was a grizzly bear. She dropped it right there. I think that little 22 qualifies as pretty versatile. I mean, we all know how versatile it is around the house, small game, foxes and the hen house and so forth. 22 it's so useful for so many things. And she killed a grizzly with it. And it wasn't just any grizzly, it's the world record grizzly in 1953. So she killed an absolute monster with it. All right, that's pretty versatile cartridge. And versatile means able to adapt to many situations. Okay. Old 30-30 Winchester. A few of us still really love this cartridge. It came out in 1894. It was America's first commercially available smokeless cartridge using smokeless gunpowder. And it was designed for John Browning's brand new 1894 Winchester. Came out 12 years before the 30-06, and it was used to hunt everything in North America. And that's what you always hear about the old 30-06. You can use it to hunt anything in North America. It's a versatile cartridge. With a 30-30, you can use it to hunt anything in North America. And not only can you use it for that, it's already being used for that. All right, so, and successfully. I would say it is just as versatile as a 30-06. Old 303 British. It's been used to hunt everything on the planet. Africa, India, Australia, U.S., Canada, you name it, the 303's been there, done that successfully. Pretty versatile. 7mm Mauser. And most of you've heard the story, but famous ivory hunter, professional hunter, way, way back, William Karamojo Bell. He used a 7mm Mauser to take out 800 elephants. Pretty versatile cartridge. Old 257 Roberts. It was designed specifically to be a versatile cartridge. It was designed to be a combination cartridge that you could use on varmint, woodchucks, groundhogs, jackrabbits, you name it, coyotes. You could shoot the smaller bullets for that, or you could load it with the heavier bullets, the 100 grain, 120 grains, and use it on deer or antelope. And many elk's been taken with the 257 Roberts. I'd say it's pretty versatile. And the old 30-06. And with the 30-06, you had the advantage of being able to load so many types of bullets in it. And that is true. You can load a lot in it. Matter of fact, I've got a old box of Remington accelerators here. All right. These are a 55 grain 22 bullet with a plastic collet on there, similar to what everybody's doing with the sabots on the muzzleloaders now. So it's got a sabot. So in the 30-06, you can shoot everything from this 55 grain 22 bullet at over 4,000 feet a second to 220 grain bullet. That's a lot of bullets. All right, so my point with all that, though, they're all versatile. I mean, we're always talking about looking for a versatile cartridge. Well, that's the thing I realized. They're all versatile, every single one of them. But versatility is not what we want, and it never has been what we wanted. We want dependable. That's why we don't use 22s to hunt grizzly bear. It can do it. It's been done. Bella Twin did it. Took a world record with it. But it's not dependable. All right, so what we're actually after is we want to be able to go out into the field with a single rifle chambered in a single cartridge, and no matter what situation we find ourselves in, or if we buy a rifle thinking, okay, we're buying this for deer hunting, but one day we might want to hunt elk, we want to know that no matter where we find ourselves in the future, that whatever we have, we can depend on it. And that's what we're after, is dependability. And that really helped me realizing that everything suddenly started to make sense. And now we can change this from what's a versatile cartridge to what's a dependable cartridge. What do you need for a cartridge to be dependable? And that helps out there. The also helps out too. Okay, on a dependable cartridge, what do you need for a cartridge to be dependable? And I hadn't thought this completely through, but I think for starters, you got to be able to shoot it accurately. I don't care what you're shooting. I don't care how versatile it is, how hard hitting it is. If you can't hit what you're shooting at, it really doesn't matter now, does it? So that's the first thing, is we got to be able to shoot it accurately. Oh, and the explosions in the background, that would be fireworks. Might be a few more of those here before this video's over. All right, so we got to be able to shoot it accurately. And all right, now keep in mind, there's some human psychology at work here too. We've all heard the expression, if something isn't working, you just need to get a bigger hammer. Well, keep in mind on the old 30-06, for a lot of years, this was the biggest hammer in the toolbox. And this is still the biggest hammer a lot of us can swing comfortably, so to speak. Well, there's just something in us that, you know, if we're going to be out there and we don't know what situation, you know, we're hunting, well, just instinctively, we automatically just think, we'll just hit it with the biggest hammer we got and it ought to work. Well, that's why the 30-06 has been popular all these decades. It's not because it's versatile. And it is versatile, but that's not why it's been popular. It's been popular because it's dependable. This is the biggest hammer in the toolbox, and again, for a lot of us. We got magnums now that, you know, hit a lot harder than this, and we got a 35 Wheeling, which a lot of you've never even seen, but still, for most of us, this is the biggest hammer in the toolbox. But this isn't the biggest. This isn't dependable for a lot of us. All right, this is still too much cartridge for a lot of us. And a friend of mine, we were at the range earlier before deer season. We were setting our scopes, and there was a young man there. He had a brand new bolt action 30-06, and he was excited and he was proud, and that gun was just beating the snot out of him. I mean, that was one tough young man. I mean, seriously, he really was. But he might have weighed 130 pounds soaking wet. Well, every time he pulled the trigger on that rifle, his head and shoulders stayed still, but you could see his body fly up about a foot behind him. I mean, that gun was just beating him up. But he was staying right in there, and he shot 1.5 boxes of rounds through it. A tough fellow. But his groups were horrible. All right, it's a great cartridge, but it wasn't going to be a dependable cartridge for him. And I mean, it's just, you know, if you can't hit what you're shooting at, if you can't shoot it accurately, you're not going to be able to depend on it. All right, what's something else that would make a cartridge dependable? You need to know the trajectory of it. All right, so you got to be able to shoot it accurately, but your point of impact is going to change, you know, as your yardages change. You need to know where it's going to hit. And if you're going to shoot it at longer distances, a lot of us define a cartridge as versatile if we can shoot a lot of different ranges with it. Well, to shoot a lot of different ranges, you have to know the trajectory of the bullet. A lot of these are a lot more capable than we give them credit for being. But if you don't know the trajectory, you're never going to hit what you're shooting at distance. So what else would make a cartridge dependable? Picking the right bullet. I'm going to say that's important. Right, you need to have a bullet that's going to perform well on the game you're hunting. So if you're hunting really big game, you need a really tough bullet that's going to penetrate. You need a heavier bullet for penetration. So you got to pick the right bullet. After that, I'm going to say having a powerful enough cartridge, a cartridge with enough energy. Now that doesn't mean you need a 500 whatever Magnum. You need a cartridge that does have enough energy though. And that's the problem with the 22. That's why we don't hunt grizzlies with it. It doesn't have enough energy. That's why it's not very dependable for that. Obviously it can work, but well, on our standard hunting cartridges, 243 to 30-06, I'd say that's the standards primarily for deer anyway. We'll throw a 7 mag and 300 mag in there, but all of your standard hunting cartridges have enough energy. That's why they're the standard hunting cartridges. That's how they became the standard. They consistently worked over and over every time throughout the decades. 243, a lot of people worry about it not having enough energy for deer. You can take elk with a 243. It's definitely, I'm guessing borderline. I'm not an expert. I don't know on elk. I don't know anything about elk. But on deer, I know a little bit about killing deer. And a 243 is a wonderful cartridge for that. And there's a reason it's been so popular since 1953. And if we look at the cells of rifles, what they're chambered in, if I'm not mistaken, 243 is usually about number 6 in popularity. And the 7mm Remington mags, one place behind it at 7. So there's an awful lot of people out there that trust the 243, and they have since 1953. It's got enough to it. Now, I know a lot of you are hunting with a 223 now. Okay, I can't recommend that. Now, a lot of you are using it. It's working. You're making it work. My hat's off to you. If that's what you want to use, that's your choice. But for me, there's a reason it's not one of the standard hunting cartridges for big game. That's bottom line. It might work for you. This 22 long is what Bella Twin used, was a long. This is a long rifle. That worked for her for killing that grizzly. It don't mean I want to try to do it, but each to their own. In a pinch, if it's come down to it, I could probably make a 223 work. But a dependable cartridge, you're going to be able to take game. You won't have to have an absolute perfect shot. Right? You can take a raking angle, which is a really sharp angle, such as when they're quartering away, and the bullet will have enough energy that you can still reach vitals even on a less than ideal shot. Right, and that's what our standard hunting cartridges give us. Oh, that's good on a night like this. So, for me, I think that's what makes a cartridge dependable. Those 4 things. If you can shoot it accurately, you know the trajectory of the bullet, you've got the proper bullet, and it's got enough energy. And later on, we're going to talk about the rifle, because I think that's the most overlooked part on versatility, is the rifle, not the cartridge. The old 30-30, we all know it's a 100-yard deer rifle, or cartridge. Well, that's because of the rifle generally that it's chambered in. Okay, that 30-30 can take a deer at 200 yards. I'm not saying it's ideal for it, but it can do it. But you're not generally going to be able to do it with the lever action and iron sights. The iron sights are your biggest limiting factor on the 30-30. All right, put a scope on there. Scoped rifle, you can take deer at 200 yards, but you have to know the trajectory. You're going to get some drop in there. All right, so to make an accurate shot, we can't just depend on the cartridge to do everything for us. There's some things we have to do on our part. We have to know where to put the bullet on the animal, shot placement. And then the other 4 things, we have to be able to shoot it accurately to hit that spot. We have to know the trajectory so that we can hit that spot. We have to have the right bullet so that we can penetrate deep enough to get to vitals. And we have to have enough energy to be able to reach those vitals from different distances. Well, those are things we have to make sure we do or have gotten right. And we can't just depend on the cartridge to do all the work for us. But the rifle, you set up a rifle right, you can use 30-30 at 200 yards. 308 Winchester. You got Randy Newberg. A lot of you probably saw his videos on YouTube. He has got the production quality of his videos are outstanding, and as somebody trying to learn to make better videos, you know, I love to watch his just to see how they're put together. And just for example, being able to show an elevation change, that's really tough to do with a video camera or in video format. It's tough to show an elevation change. He does a good job of showing that. He also does a really good job of shooting elk at over 300 yards with a .308 Winchester. And for him, it's dependable. Well, he's adjusting his scope. He's using a laser rangefinder. He knows how to, adjust the scope. He's using one of the Leopolds to set up that you dial it in. Okay, it's his whole setup there that lets him do that. Plus his rifle's light enough that he can carry it up and down those mountains. Okay, well, he's got a versatile setup, an extremely versatile setup. But it's not the cartridge. He's shooting the same .308 we all shoot. He's picking the correct bullet for the game he's shooting, but again, he's shooting the same .308 we all use. He's making it work for what he's doing because of the setup, though, and that's why I say in the future, we're going to talk more about the rifles later on and how to make a rifle more versatile. Or how to make a rifle less versatile if you're specializing in one particular type of hunting. Or, that's good to know too. But hopefully this answered some of the questions I've gotten on versatile cartridges. And just, when you're thinking about that, think about, okay, what's a dependable cartridge? And so I'm going to think some more about this myself, but that really helped clear up some things for me, and I hope it did, y'all. I hope this video answered some of y'all's questions, and if you enjoyed it, hey, give it a thumbs up. It helps out the video, and if you didn't enjoy it, give it a thumbs up. Let YouTube know you like hunting and shooting videos. And if you want to see what we're getting into next week, which as usual, I have no idea at this point, but hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And just a quick FYI as far as the channel, I've got a couple of projects planned here for the next month or so that I think a lot of y'all are going to really enjoy. So check in on that. It should be interesting. And I hope all of y'all had a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful New Year. And God bless. And have a good evening.